All right, good morning everyone. Today we are in Stockholm, Sweden. This trip's finally here.
Yes.
We've been planning this for 8 months. This is our biggest trip ever within Loop, and it starts here in Stockholm, Sweden. We're here for 4 days. We're gonna do all sorts of cool stuff. Whether it's culture stuff, lots of drinking, lots of food, going on a boat tour. Of course, we're going to the theme park. Might go see some animals, all sorts of fun stuff. I go by the legend. That's Molly. We're in Sweden. I'm excited. Let's go explore the city. Stockholm is famous for having a very pretty subway system, in that there's a lot of artwork and paintings on the subway stations, which is a guy that grew up in New York, not something I'm used to.
No.
At the metro station by the Medieval Museum, you do have a really cool statue and fountain. We're currently in the Garden, which is right in the middle of the city, and my favorite part by far is this fountain. I love the swans that are all spouting water. And it's pretty nice. One of the things we hope to do during our 4 days here in Stockholm is go on a boat tour of the city, and it seems like a lot of them launch from right here. But I have to turn the camera on because there's a cruise ship in port today.
Yeah.
The Island Princess, a Princess Cruise Line ship.
We thought about taking a cruise from here.
Yeah. Something I was not expecting to see here in Sweden, and that is a duck boat. You can go on the ocean bus tour. And it's a duck boat, so it'll drive around and then splash down in the water.
It's like $32. Not bad.
We have found our destination is over there, and is the Medieval Museum, a free museum. Let's go see what's inside. This painting here was inspired by the first book ever written here in Sweden.
That's really cool.
There's a much larger room we wander into next, and it's got a piece of the city wall from all the way back in 1530.
That's crazy.
It's a neat model of what Stockholm looked like in the early 1620s.
Look at the wall.
The museum does have some pretty cool thematic stuff as well, like this recreation of a medieval village. Molly, what does this one say?
According to the tax list, for 1460, there was 8 bakers in Stockholm.
And this dude just hangs out his little house.
Salad?
Selling bread with his wild boar. One of the larger pieces in the museum is a 500-year-old ship.
That sunk and was recently discovered.
By recently, you mean 1930?
I mean, like, for 500 years. That's recent.
As far as free museums go, that was pretty solid. There's some cool stuff in there, and it costs nothing to come in. We were in there for about a half hour, 45 minutes or so.
You can also do a guided tour, and you also can purchase an audio guide.
All right, this is not just any train. This is a fun train.
I don't know what it is.
Really awesome waterfall fountain coming off of the Royal Palace.
It's really neat with all the cave markings.
If you don't think about the sushi store, this alleyway really feels like something out of a movie. Molly, I believe right now we're in the Old Town section of Stockholm.
Yes.
Like cobblestone streets, it's all pedestrian pathways. Feels very fanciful, obviously very old. It looks like there's a lot of shops and restaurants. This statue is a recreation of one that is in one of the most famous churches here in Stockholm. Currently in a very, very pretty square. Home to something very famous here in Stockholm, and that is the Nobel Prize Museum, as the Nobel Prizes are given out here in Stockholm. I, for one, like this fountain. It's kind of weird. There's like demon guys continually vomiting. Quite enjoy a good nerd store, so I have to stop in here to the science fiction book holding.
Look at this sleigh.
Yeah. Upstairs there's a big Harry Potter section, so obviously going to be very popular with Molly.
Yeah, I was told to come here for this.
Also looking over the store, you've got Darth Vader and his good pal, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, you don't see him too often.
No, and then I like the xenomorph just sort of flying over the store. All right, Molly, what am I looking at?
I think you're looking at Harry Potter books in Swedish.
And a different artwork on the covers. And
Yeah. That is definitely Order of the Phoenix, and yeah, look at this one.
in the Old Town area, I guess these are famous stairs.
Yes.
Just look like stairs to me. This building here is the oldest bank building in the entire world, and I love the statue.
The doves, the pigeons also love it.
Yeah,
Those are pigeons, not doves.
Yep. Ah, look at this. It is a roller coaster made out of candy.
It smells really good in there.
This is the Hokogris Kokiri. Also, I'm not going to know how to pronounce any of this stuff, so just be aware. Inside is a very old-timey candy kitchen, much like you'd see in Gothenburg. Just made a whole bunch of giant lollipops. Definitely wanted to check out. We got 2 free samples when we were in there. It smelled amazing, and we bought a bag of chocolate toffee.
It sounds amazing because the regular toffee was really
the caramel one was great, and I really like chocolate a lot better. And they gave some of this like the fresh candy canes that they're still warm. Really neat. Now, if there's one thing I'm a sucker for, it is a good themed restaurant right here in Old Town. They have a Viking themed restaurant. We made dinner reservations, so we're going to be eating here, and I'm excited. This seems different.
I'm really excited. First meal of the trip.
And down the stairs, and inside we go. So we have made it to our table. This place is really wild looking. Seemed to be in the year 800. All the servers are in character. Look at the utensils.
It's wonderful.
I'm pretty excited for this.
I love how the candles are on a boat.
Yeah. So we got some drinks. They had a large selection of mead. So I went with a blackcurrant mead. That was really good. I love the beer glass. Check that out.
I love even the drink glass. Look at your meat glass.
Comes out of the thing. Then you get a selection of breads. Very cool. Drinks are going to run you about 100 kroner each, which is about $10. The main course has arrived. I got the steak, a nice red wine sauce on it. That looks really good. And then Molly, you got one of your favorite dishes, rack of lamb, and then it's like sausages.
Yes, it looks delicious.
And both these are going to be around 300 kroner, so like $30.
But there was one land that we never mastered, for they were fierce and cunning and clever as hell. So we had to befriend them instead of fighting them. Please welcome Lithuania!
So as anyone enters the restaurant, they say where they're from, and the meter details the story.
I literally have no idea what's going on now. You got a helmet and an axe.
You sit on these and now it's all over you.
Yep. You're looking the part, drinking your IPA.
Dessert time, we got the chocolate pie with salted caramel, and then mead, truffles, also drinking the honey beer, and Molly got an apple mead, and there's now a Viking band playing. A gentleman on a weird Viking violin, and one on a weird Viking guitar. So I absolutely loved it. The whole experience was so much fun.
The food was really good.
Yeah, unlike some of the gimmick restaurants you'll get back in the United States, the food was really, really good.
They had 3 beers that they brewed themselves.
Yeah, the mead was good. The entertainment was a blast. I love the introductions when people were coming into the restaurant.
Yeah, my favorite was to figure out which country they're from.
Yeah.
And there was everywhere, from Mexico,
Australia
to Ireland. You did have one Swedish family.
A couple.
But yeah, all over.
But it was very pricey. This did cost us like 130 American dollars. So that's a lot more than we normally spend on a dinner. But I had a blast. It was so much fun. Going from one gimmick to another, right by the Viking bar and restaurant, there is a pirate bar and restaurant. So might as well stop in for a beverage. As you might expect, the pirate bar and restaurant is very much in the basement.
And I love the bust.
Yeah, it's really neat. So the pirate bar is very well themed. I definitely feel like you're in a pirate's cave. And then a couple different rooms. There's a dining room and a couple of bar rooms. I guess they do music as well. And a couple things I like, they've got a really, really good rum list. I'm drinking a Swedish rum that's aged like 5 to 6 years in sherry barrels, and it's delicious. And Molly has a very interesting how to tease the bees sour craft beer with pineapple, strawberry, and lime. But the setting here, it's awesome. As we make our way to our next drinking destination, did walk by, you can see Grona Lund over there in the distance. That is on the cards. I believe it's going to be our plan for Monday. It's day 1 out of the 4.
So it's the last day.
Yeah.
Oh look, there's the drop tower.
All of them. They have 3 drop towers at that park.
It's a lot of drop towers.
So this is so smart. It's something I don't think we have back in the States yet. It's like charging for some of these electric scooters, whether they be Limes or Birds or other ones that I don't have the app for.
And it's designated parking too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the internet package here, so we will not be riding any of those. Much to Molly's, she hates them.
I'm not a fan.
This one is not our destination, but
You love the sign.
the sign is fantastic.
Mustache.
Up next, it's time for some local craft beer. So we're going to Omnipolis. Now, this was recommended to us by a couple people. Generally, whenever we're going to a new city, we'll go out there on the social medias and say like, hey, where should we go? You guys know us. And this came up a couple times. Looked at the tap list. I am intrigued. So this is a very popular bar, and with good reason. Like, their draft list looks awesome. We have 2 different beers. Molly went with the, where is it?
It's number 3.
Number 3.
It's a creme brulee.
Yes, orange pineapple creme brulee sour. I love anything that goes super high ABV, so I got their double VA Imperial Stout.
Now I'm kind of sad because the pizza looks really good here.
Oh, yeah.
And I got recommended the pizza, but I'm of course full from our Viking dinner.
Sour has a frozen beer foam on top.
It's good. Very different.
And then I'm really curious, I'm so full, they have some sort of a snack referred to as bacon on crack. And I'm really curious. Up next, another bar that was recommended by a listener. Although Molly,
I don't like feet.
Yeah.
However, they said it was good beer.
I love the outdoor seating. Like, they have this all around their building, and it's really neat. Let's go inside. I love the menu at this craft beer bar. It looks like they had 27 beers on draft, which is amazing. And then it's all done by a projector. So you can switch this out if, like, a keg kicks, whatever you want.
And you also have your flag of what country you're in.
I know.
You're getting an American beer?
Okay, I'm getting an American beer, but come on, guys. Cream cheese stuffed blueberry French toast, 10%. It's hard to say no to that, right? So we took our beers, we're sitting outside.
I love these seats.
Oh yeah, these are great.
And all different pubs and cafes have seats like this.
This one kind of feels like you're taking a standardized test, except you're not. You're drinking beer and people watching. Also, if you've never been to Stockholm, during the summer, like when we're here, it is currently 9:15 at night, and it feels like it is 5 p.m. It is very odd.
We're so far north.
Yeah, but this is a really nice bar. Definitely gonna have a couple rounds here. Good morning. It is day 2 on our Stockholm adventure, and something that's very typical to do in any tourist city is go to the lookout tower.
Yes.
Or the tallest high point in Sweden. That is the Skyview here in Stockholm, which is this weird ride to the top of this theater. I have not seen something like this, and I'm really intrigued by it.
When you get
Before
back
you go
down
in,
again, you're
there is a
only welcome
pre-show
to visit
movie.
our shop. Why not buy a souvenir as a memory of your experience here?
And in we go to the elevator pod ride vehicle sphere thing. The roof is opening, and we're getting ready to head on up. Okay. So what are we getting here? Up we go. Looks like we're about halfway up, and we are getting ready to pass the ride vehicle that is coming down. So there's two of these. Really clear day.
Yeah.
Jag kommer lämna ju.
Det där är några som åker med. Vi ska åka ner snart.
Titta, det där tornet har vi åkt förbi och cyklat förbi.
And we have made it to the top. Molly, you know I get to do a lot of these kind of observation towers. This is very unique.
It is very, very odd.
You get a great view though.
You do.
Titta, det är tomt. Det var nog som hade klart berget.
Still at the top here, and the view looking down the tracks is kind of creepy. Or trippy. So we start our journey down. This is a concert arena. They could do hockey and sports in here. And right next to it is the soccer arena. Definitely a weird view as you're moving downwards. Just how very steep or beyond vertical it looks. If you're curious, like me, who built this, so was I. A Swedish engineering company. It is a beautiful day here in Stockholm, and our next destination is Skansen. Now, Molly, you had this one on your hit list, and it's kind of like an outdoor museum.
Yes.
And so I'm guessing it's like a Colonial Williamsburg kind of thing.
A little bit, yes, with a little bit of a zoo and animals.
It should be interesting. I see that they have otters and bears, so...
You're in.
Yeah, I'm in. You got me sold. So one of the first things you see is a model of the skansen, which looks pretty big.
Yeah, and it looks giant.
Guess we're going to begin our tour here in the town area. How quaint. All right, I might like this place. There's giant chickens that are wandering around.
Bunch of them.
Always fun to see the glass flowing, and then you could buy.
And the chicken, look at that chicken.
The chickens make sense. We just saw so many chickens. I like these elephants down here. The next room is the engineering area. See, should be like a lathe or something. This one's neat. It's a printing shop from the 1840s. There is a bakery with a lot of good-looking treats. We have decided to have a seat and enjoy some beverages and watch the chickens.
Why not?
At Skansen, there's a lot of hills, and you could take a funicular to get to the top of one of them. So I mean, we have to do that.
You do love funiculars.
They're so cool. It's a bit odd. To ride the funicular, it is an extra cost of about 30 krone. And you have to buy the ticket by leaving the park and coming back in. And up the hill we go. And of course, passing the other funicular, there we go. There's a big field with just probably about 100 geese in it. The funicular ride was made by Von Roll, who does a lot of like sky rides and stuff like that. A lot of your older sky rides, so parks like Six Flags Great Adventure has one. I believe they made the ones that were at Disneyland and Disney World. So we got a little hungry, walked by the Wild Man Deli, and this looks very different kind of food. Not this one. I got for 30 kroner, take a small sausage. But this In this flatbread cone, it is mashed potatoes and then fried elk meat and then creme fraiche and some berries. Very interesting. This was about 130 krona. Park's over to some sort of little kid's car ride, but my favorite thing is the adults can ride and they just don't fit at all, and it is fascinatingly hilarious to watch. There is a children's zoo area, as you can see some sheep over there, but look at this snake-themed playground slide. That is so wild looking.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really well done themed slide.
There's a large section of the skansen dedicated to farm life and what it would be like to live on a Swedish farm, including farm animals. I'm partial to the little baby goat on the rock. Also in the skansen is an area for Nordic animals, which do seem very similar to animals you'll find in like colder parts of the United States or up in Canada. And the first one here looks like a very small reindeer. Here you can see 2 moose. Now if you go to like a gift shop anywhere in Sweden and there's an animal on a t-shirt, or like a plush animal with like a Sweden t-shirt on, it is probably going to be a moose, so it makes sense that they have these here at the skansen. Right by the moose exhibit, you do get this beautiful, beautiful view of Stockholm and the big body of water here. And the brown bears are very active. They have a couple of them.
Look at him eating on the log.
Yeah. It definitely looks like a juvenile brown bear, the one I'm looking at now. And then there might be a larger one over here. Yeah, a bit of a weird pose for an otter. I guess he's trying to get some rest. They don't have a species listed. I want to say they're North American river otters, but they're so cute. They are. You can also see one of the otters in their den, just rolling around. Fun enclosure here. You got a couple of wild boars, and then up on the hill is European bison.
How many times?
Yeah, a fun looking animal right there. That is a wolverine. Cool building here is a belfry. There is a small amusement park section with some kids rides. Look at that car. What is that?
That is cute. Look at that.
So they've got some midway games, and one I've never seen before, where Molly has to pull a rope. She's gonna then pull one of these things up.
Blue.
Blue. She got a blue, so she wins.
Then you have to choose between these 2 prizes and all the way up.
All right. And here is our big, big prize.
I wanted something squishy.
Instead, we got a small porcelain girls
Holding a dog.
with puppies. That's a weird prize. There is also an aquarium here. For an extra charge, there's another enclosure with some lemurs and stuff in it. It will cost you about $14 to go in here, though. A little better shot of some of the lemurs and how close you can get to these lemurs. Well, there's just some hanging out on the pathway. That'll do it for our time at the skansen. We were here for like 4 hours. This place is gigantic, and there is so much stuff here that we didn't even do. So easy place to spend a full day. And relatively inexpensive. I think it was like about $22 or so to get us in here for one person. So we ran over to the other side of town because there was a hot dog stand, Molly, you really wanted to try.
Yes, it had really good reviews. It closed at 5 on Saturdays.
And we made it here with like 15 minutes to spare here at Gunter's. And unfortunately, they are traveling and out of town till August the 8th.
Wah, wah, wah. I guess you can't win them all while traveling.
No.
Yeah.
But we'll miss out on the official hot dog of the Ring General. A pair of very, very interesting and weirdly designed skyscrapers. Look at that. And then there's like a crane or something on top of the building. All right, time for the backup plan. Something we do want to check out anyway. And we're gonna go grab something here at Bastard Burgers. All right, here at Bastard Burger, we're sharing their traditional burger. Looks very good. Reminiscent to me of like Shake Shack.
Yeah.
We got a couple of beers, specialty beers. They have a lot of specialty beers, including How to Be a Bastard Blonde Ale and a Big City Bastard, which is shockingly brewed
In New York.
In New York at the Bronx Brewery. Some of the architecture here in Stockholm is very, very neat. So we are currently on our way to a tiki bar. The first rule of Swedish Fight Club: make a sign about Fight Club. So one thing I try to do in every city is find their tiki bar. Here in Stockholm, it is the tiki room, much like at Walt Disney World or Disneyland, and it is in the basement of a bistro. So the tiki bar is pretty cool, pretty big. It's in the basement here. Lots and lots of seating, but very, very chill. So we have gotten our drinks. Molly, what'd you get?
I got a Mai Tai with
Did you get Don the Beachcomber recipe or Trader Vic recipe?
No, the Don
the Beachcomber?
the Beachcomber.
I got the Spin Drift, which is their limit 2 per guest cocktail, so I can't pass that up.
They don't have a zombie, so you had to get that.
Yeah, I mean, they might, but it's hard to tell because everything's in Swedish. I mean, I can see a lot of these being the zombie, but it's hard to tell.
Yes. Yours got lit on fire.
Yes, which I'll show you now. Oh. Up next is something we did not have on our list, but we walked by and we're like, what on earth is this? We saw these big things outside and we're like, oh, this is probably like a party city or something like that. No, it's some sort of Christmas and Halloween themed bar and restaurant. Molly, this is a place.
It is. We just wandered by.
It is just wacky, completely wild in here. I love the giant Santa on the ceiling.
And you and I were talking about how there's no Nightmare Before Christmas stuff.
No.
It's all Halloween and Christmas.
And like every inch is covered in things. What a wild, wild place. We are drinking 2 like giant Swedish beers. But I feel like you could stay here for an hour just looking at all the different details.
Yeah.
That's the Grinch back there. En route to our next drinking destination, we rounded through a park, which is very pleasant. Some like weird playground equipment that you would not see in America.
Yeah, like a Flintstone
car, more or less. And then there's a like open air bar at part of the park, which I think does stand-up comedy. Like I saw the microphone set up and things like that. I'm like, but there's no guitar, there's no nothing.
It's very popular.
I guess it's like a stand-up comedy, and they have all their comedians listed.
We're not saying because I'm assuming it's in Swedish.
Yes. Another quick shot to get some cool Stockholm architecture. Molly, something that was on your hit list that we probably won't have time to do is the library here in Stockholm. Only because it's a really interesting design. Like it's big and round, as you can see from the top of the building there. And it looks really pretty in pictures.
Very different than other libraries.
Our next stop this evening brings us to the Man in the Moon Gastropub, which is famous for having like 650 different beers available for purchase. Well, Molly, this bar gets a big thumbs up from me. There's so much beer.
There is.
You get the regular beer menu, they have a bunch of them.
Which I was disappointed at how many on tap.
Yeah, there's probably only like 20 or so, but a lot of taps out. You get the wines, but then you get to like, everything's arranged by country. So you got Sweden, Belgium. Belgium goes on for pages and pages. Then Norway. United States, good for us. We have a lot of good-looking beers.
Yeah.
Holland, Denmark. And then you get to this point where you said like, well, you can ask for a aged beer menu. Now some of these get very expensive. Like it's not a cheap bar. $40. There's one beer here. It's a giant beer that would be $238 American dollars.
That's a lot. My beer right here is 20.
Yeah, you got a $20 beer. These 2 are like $10 beers. But then they have only one in the bar. You can ask for the age list, which is essentially like the equivalent of a wine list, but for beer. And it's kind of fascinating. It's like you go like St. Barnabas, a great Belgian beer, and then depending on what year you want it, is the pricing varies that much. And it's just a really, really cool thing to see.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful that some restaurants in Sweden stay open super late. Like right now we're at Doran. It's a beautiful building. And we both got the meatballs.
How can you not?
Yes, Swedish meatballs are like the specialty. And they look amazing. It was about $17 per plate. I got a beer plate of all local beers for $15. And this looks like a meal. Very traditional Swedish meatballs with the gravy on top, potatoes on the side, as well as lingonberries. This should be good. Good morning, it is day 3 here in Stockholm. Right in the middle of the city, there's this really cool fountain and sculpture-y thing. And we're making our way towards the boat tour. And we made it to our boat on the canal tour. It's about $24 and it's an hour long. Should be some cool views. It is kind of nice. You are given a headset and they have it in different languages.
In all different languages too.
Tomorrow. Look at how adorable this bar is.
That is really cute.
Also, they serve beer on the boat. Big deal here in Stockholm is what they call fika, which is like pastries. The most famous of which being a cinnamon roll. This is a giant cinnamon roll.
We got recommended this place by a listener.
Yeah, and about $4.50 for that giant cinnamon roll. Right by the palace, this is happening. I don't know what the Nexus Ball Rally is, but it seems very popular. Our next stop is the Royal Palace, which you can visit for $18, and you walk around the outside without paying, but to go inside, it's about $18. Let's go see what's inside. One part of the Royal Palace is a museum, and these statues are wild. And each of them are like 20 feet tall.
Lots of detail on them.
The museum is located like in the basement, and this is pretty neat down here. The museum section does go on for a while. The next section of the castle tour, we took a break to see whatever that road race was, and now we're back in the tour, and this is Gustav's Museum of Antiquities. Next part of the tour is the Hall of State and the Royal Apartments. This room is spectacular. We did go downstairs to the treasury first. Check out this chest that this would be where they would keep the crown jewels until 1732.
Crown jewels were still.
Look at all the mechanisms in that thing.
Yeah.
And of course down here is where they keep all the crowns and fancy jewels. They have a whole bunch of them. It's really neat. This is the coronation cloak for the Queen. I would guess this is the throne room.
Yes. I agree.
I really like some of the detail that can be found here in the palace. Lions in the corner. Everything's so ornate and neat looking. Heading up the stairs towards the state apartments. The guest bedroom is pretty wild. Also, look at the size of that bed.
It is giant. It's too cute.
The council chamber here is definitely one of the neater rooms in the palace.
The ceilings and the chandeliers.
Yeah. This room is the gallery where they would have banquets for up to 170 people. I believe it's changing the Grab some quick street food for lunch. I got just the normal hot dog. Molly got the French hot dog with garlic.
It was also the first time we had to use our Google Translate because the menu was only in Swedish.
I find it really interesting. This big white sailing ship, it is actually a hostel.
I looked at it. It was more expensive than our current hotel, and it didn't have a private bathroom. But it's a really cool idea.
I was going to say, our hotel is also not an old sailing ship. So we need to walk over to this island to go to a modern art museum Molly wanted to visit. Even though, look, there's a toy museum right there.
We might go.
That sounds way more fun than art. It's toys. We have made it to the modern art museum. Outside, there's a really, really neat fountain. And it like changes patterns so you can kind of get trapped in there.
You have to guess.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. And then the modern art museum is over here. So the modern art museum is probably not my thing, but at least it was free. Outside the museum is also this, and it might be more interesting than anything that's inside the museum. Good news, we've got time, so I get to go to the toy museum.
We do.
The toy museum. This looks fun. Now inside the museum proper, it did cost 140 krone to get in here, which is roughly $14 or so. But you could sit in a bathtub with a backdrop of Scrooge McDuck's Money Pit. Update, the bathtub is filled with coins.
Someone decided to get in the tub. And now he's splashing around. I can't.
They have quite the collection of stuff.
Very random.
I would say it's not really a museum where you're going to learn a ton, but the collection is really neat. And I love that the entire thing is in a cave. Some of these old-timey toys are fantastic, like Picnic Bear, it drinks, or Smoking Grandpa. This exhibit's awesome. You see a projection screen, and behind the screen are different types of space toys.
I don't know what's going on.
It's a really cool exhibit.
It is.
This one's really neat. So it is a car they chopped in half, and then they filled the car with a whole bunch of toy cars.
Everything from old school.
Yeah. So I was wrong when I mentioned earlier how you couldn't really learn stuff here. On these interactive displays like this, all these kind of like battle and war toys, and you can click on any one of them like to learn all about it. Like this is body armor for children from Germany in the 1910s. So all throughout the museum is this big kind of Rube Goldberg machine, and at this point the ball goes into a little kind of Barbie car where it'll get dropped off and continue its adventure. Molly, I'm really disappointed we don't have any change.
No.
There is like an arcade machine for 10 crown. You get to arm wrestle Popeye. As big Disney dorks, we love this next section. It is all Disney stuff on the ceilings, the floors, and everything from, you got park stuff, a lot of cartoon stuff, anything you might imagine. Mickey and Donald fish sticks. And so they do have some really cool stuff. As a big fan of the Disney parks, I love this. They've got retro plates from Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Euro Disney. Let's see, down there you can find some old vintage Disney dollars. And then I think my favorite might be over here. They've got a really old toy of the Disneyland monorail.
Well, walking to our next destination, we ran into this microbrewery that's famous in Denmark, correct?
Yeah.
And you're drinking an IPA, I'm drinking a passion pool, and of course, you found an arcade.
Yeah, they are playing Mario Brothers.
So good beer and entertainment for him.
Yeah, it's McKellar where we're at.
McKellar, yes. Update. The video game has hundreds, thousands of games. Currently on free play. Probably not always on free play, but we might be here for a while.
This is another drinking location that was recommended by a listener, the Karlkrona Beer Hall. We'll say this restaurant is very neat. It's over 100 years old. Very traditional feel. We got a couple of local IPAs that are both really nice. And then we're going to share some meatballs, the very traditional style. But man, the presentation is excellent. So the last thing we did was eating those delicious meatballs over at Karlkrona. So the next logical stop,
More meatballs.
go get more meatballs here at Meatballs for the People, which I'm assuming would be what John Morgan would name a meatball restaurant if he was to open one up. So this meatball restaurant is interesting. They specialize in different types of meatballs. We are sharing a sampler, and you can tell by the flags, you got cow, pork, chicken, and these two are deer. And then you got a big old gravy boat to cover them all in.
The chefs choose which ones.
Yeah.
Because there's more than these. There's also like vegetarian
And wild boar.
and classic, which is a mix.
Right now we are in bar agriculture. I'm not sure what to pronounce it.
That's how I would pronounce it.
It's that. We stopped here because there's something you really wanted to eat.
Yes.
Cheese balls.
And garlic honey.
Looks good.
It does look good.
I'm gonna make one more stop before calling it a night, and that's over here at Skyview, which is a medieval themed bar and restaurant. Also, we're back here in the Old Town area, and on a Sunday at like 8:30 in the evening, it is very, very quiet.
Now, there's only one ship right now in port versus the 3 that were in port the last time we were
and it's
in
a
this
smaller
area.
one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very calm compared to it was like a hive activity the other day. So we got a couple of more beers that we've never heard of before, and we're enjoying them in a cave. This one I don't think is quite as cool as some of the other bars.
I do like the roof over there.
Yeah.
The shield.
Good morning from day 4 and our final day here in Stockholm. This is the Nordic Museum. We are not going to be visiting it. We don't have enough time. But the building it's in is just
gorgeous.
beautiful. So today we're going to spend most of our time on this island, as this island is home to the Vasa Museum, which is our first stop, the Viking Museum. It's also home to the Grona Lund theme park. It's also where you'll find the Skansen outdoor museum we were at a couple days ago.
I love how you have the castle walk to
Yeah.
enter that museum area.
It's called something like that. I'm
Not going to pronounce it.
Nope. Our first stop this morning is probably the most famous museum here in Stockholm, and that is the Vasa Museum. We are now inside of the Vasa Museum, which is all about this ship here. This was a Swedish warship that was poorly designed. It sank on its very first voyage back in the 1600s, and at some point later they pulled it out of the river and gave it its own museum.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it feels like something right out of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The museum itself is very well done. It's on a whole bunch of different levels, so you get a whole bunch of different vantage points of the ship,
I
including
think this one's the best. The top deck.
and all
Top floor.
the detail that's on the back of the ship. It was about 190 crowns to get in here, so about $19. But definitely worth it. It's spectacular. Pretty neat. In front of the museum, you get to walk around what a recreation of the cannon deck looked like. It was very short.
Very.
One last shot of the Vasa. Our next stop for the day takes us to the Viking Museum, which I want to go to because there's a dark ride in there.
Shocking.
The museum doesn't seem overly big, but you can learn quite a bit, and it's a very modern museum with lots of interactives and things like that. So the Hyde Museum is the Viking dark ride. It's like a trackless dark ride, a really long ride. Very bizarre. It involves like slave trading and joining the Vikings and joining the army. It was interesting. It was very different. Ride system was really cool. No animatronics and stuff like that. You do have some miniatures and projections. But yeah, that was a dark ride fair. Pretty neat. Found this place right by the museums and the theme park. Looks adorable, so we're gonna have some food. Grab some food here. It's kind of interesting. They had like a salad buffet that you get to use if you order a meal. I just got bread and some mozzarella. They also had like complimentary dessert bread. Got 2 big Swedish beers. I went rather American with my meal, the pulled pork sandwich. And we are getting our 4th order of Swedish meatballs on the trip. This one does come with like little boiled potatoes instead of the mashed potatoes like the other 3 did. Overall, this meal ran us about 500 of the krones, so about 50 bucks. But a beautiful day to just hang out and have a beer.
It is.
So our grona lund tickets aren't good until 4:30, so we got about an hour and a half to see other things.
So you voted on Twitter?
Yep, and well, I probably would have preferred the bar. Twitter, you guys voted us to go to Abba the Museum, which is located right next to the theme park. Theme park's over there.
The tickets do have to be pre-purchased online.
And they are not cheap, like 28 bucks to go into the Abba Museum. Thanks, Twitter. And in we go. I think this should be a good point in time in the video to remind you, I know nothing about the band Abba. I'm here because
Zach would be very proud of you.
Yes, Zach's very happy with how the Twitter poll worked out. He might have voted like 20 times.
He probably did.
Pretty cool. They got the big glowing sign that they would hang like behind them in concerts. A museum does appear to be of a very high quality, like very modern, very neat exhibits. The music studio and then the mixer they would use.
It's really cool.
This is by far my favorite interactive here. You can go up there and try to become the 5th member of Abba. Oh, this is fantastic. Here in the Loop, we can't afford our own helicopter, but I guess Abba could. Of course, you have to have a big room full of all the extravagant outfits. And yeah, there it is. Pretty wild. One thing I find kind of weird, like the biggest room in the museum is all about Abba after they broke up. Seems like a weird choice. Amalia is currently participating in an interactive from the Mamma Mia film where she's helping Donna fix the tavern. A lot more interactive stuff in this museum than I thought there would be.
Oh, I froze. Look at the cat at the bottom here in the paint.
Well, he disappeared. Could you boop the cat? Nope, trying to boop the cat. Trying to boop the cat. Nope, we can't boop the cat.
No.
Pretty neat to see a model for the Mamma Mia the Party dinner show.
Which I didn't know existed.
It does. One of our last stops here in Stockholm was visiting the Grona Lund amusement park. This is a really old amusement park, been here for over 100 years, and I had an absolute blast. Definitely one of the more expensive attractions you can do in town. This ticket was around $50 a piece, and you have to pick a time slot. You can either go in the morning right now from 10 to 3:30, or in the evening from 4:30 to 10. And there's a lot of rides in this park, so you really have to you have to sort of pick and choose when you want to go on.
That's what I don't like about it, is that you definitely can't do the whole park. However, that park is really pretty. It's amazing of how many rides they build on top of each other.
Yeah, there's roller coasters on top of roller coasters that are built on a restaurant, and it is wild. Some of my favorite things about the park, I love the fun house. They have this wild, old-timey fun house that is something you would never see in America, and it was an absolute blast.
I had no idea the slide tilted.
Yes.
And the picture definitely shows that.
It is the best souvenir picture ever. I also, some of the roller coasters were pretty fun. I like Monster was my favorite.
Yeah, I think
there.
Monster was my favorite right there, but it was a very traditional, but it was so smooth.
Oh yeah, it was, and that park was a lot of fun. Definitely recommend Grona Lund if you're into rides and theme park stuff.
Yes.
And that'll do it for our time here in Stockholm. We had 4 days. We saw a lot. We did a lot. While we were in Stockholm, we were staying here at the Motel L of VCO. It's located about 3 stops away from Stockholm.
It's very convenient.
On the commuter rail. Room was, it's going to be a small kind of no frills, very modern hotel.
The bed very small.
Yeah.
And you have 2 different sheets.
Yeah, that's weird. Kind of like a sleeping bag. That was bizarre. We are here in July. The room does not get overly cold. So that's one knock. But if you book on their website, you get a really nice, interesting Swedish breakfast buffet.
Yes, with meats and breads, butter.
Some good cinnamon
fruits,
rolls,
and
danishes.
pastries.
The rest of the room, there's a bathroom, big window. A very interesting shower. Like, it's a giant rainforest shower.
I love the mirror on the wall that you look at.
Yes. All fancy stuff. Yes, I would recommend this hotel. Also, it's very inexpensive. We probably paid around $70 or so a night.
Yes.
All right, and that'll do it for our time in Stockholm. I had a blast. We were here 4 days.
I love the city.
Oh yeah, it's a great city. It's very clean. The public transportation is very easy to use. Lots of attractions, some very unique attractions. Molly, what was your favorite things, or some of your favorite things we did while we were here?
There was so many, but I really liked the palace tour, like the apartment tour and royal apartments. That was really pretty with the halls.
For me, I'm the theme park guy, so I'm going to go Grona Lund.
Of course.
Not too surprising there. A very unique park, very old-timey park.
The Vasa Museum was really cool to me, of how that ship was sunk for 333 years.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
That was very, very nice. I also loved walking around the Old Town section. And these buildings that have been there for 100 years and are tilted, and it's just this little pedestrian street. It really kind of felt like going back in time. And that was really cool. Anything you did not like as much about Stockholm?
Ooh.
For me, I would say food and beverage is expensive.
Yeah, everyone said the monorail or the metros stations were all designed, and there was only a few. Maybe we didn't get off as many as we should have, but
or we got the wrong ones.
I was a little disappointed because it made it seem like every metro station was made over an artwork, and it wasn't.
No, and one of the things I heard going in was Stockholm was expensive. And I would say your attractions are pretty reasonably priced, but your food and beverage is probably higher than the average city.
Speaking of food and beverage, what was your favorite thing you ate?
Oh man, I don't know about 8, but my favorite dining experience was that Viking restaurant and bar.
That was probably the best themed
food was
area.
good though. That food was good.
The food was really good, yes.
And that experience was just a blast. It's something I'll remember for a long time.
I liked my cheese ball and garlic honey.
Oh,
that was
good.
really good. As well as the meatball at
Kavarnen.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, we had 4 different meatball stops in our 4 days.
Favorite.
I agree. That was my favorite as well. All right, guys, if you have any questions about Stockholm, let us know in the comment section below. We'll do our best to get back to you. Thank you very much for watching.